Ladies and gentlemen, dear doctors, dear guests, good evening and welcome to the 65th Congress of the European Society of Cardiovascular and Endovascular Surgery in Belgrade. At the very beginning of the ceremony, you will hear the welcome address by the chairman of the local organizing committee of the 65th ESCVS Congress, Professor Lazar Davidovic. I'm very proud to say Professor Davidovic also happens to be my dear schoolmate.
Thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, dear colleagues, authorities, distinguished guests, Your Excellency, Dr. Zlatibor Lončar, Ministry of Health of the Republic of Serbia, dear Professor Bulat, Vice Dean of Belgrade Medical Faculty, dear Professor Otto, Mr. President of the European Society for Cardiovascular Surgery, dear Professor Treška, Secretary General. Welcome to the opening ceremony of the 65th Congress of the European Society for Cardiovascular Surgery. Thank you so much for your coming. You honored us greatly. These historical pictures shows surgeons from 11 European countries, only 11 European countries who attended the first founding Congress of the European Society for Cardiovascular Surgery 64 years ago. One of them was Professor Vojislav Stojanovic from Serbia. He represented former Yugoslavia, and we Serbian cardiac and vascular surgeons are the most proud of it. In the following decades, Professor Stojanovic continued successfully his activity in the European Society for Cardiovascular Surgery, and thanks to him, as you can see, the first jubilee, 25th Congress of our society was organized in Belgrade in 1876. At that time, I was still in my high school together with this gentleman, Mr. Gavrilo Došen. Gavrilo, thanks so much for your coming. During that Congress, Belgrade was visited by many leading cardiac and vascular surgeons, not only from Europe. After the end of the official part of the opening ceremony, we will see one short brief movie that will take us back at that time once again. These ladies and gentlemen who are with us this evening attended that Congress in 1876 as well. All of them were my teachers, and I would like to wish very special welcome to all of them. Please, let's greet them with an applause. Using these original documents from 1976, we arranged one book as a memory of that time. In this way, we would like to depict one of the development phases of our society for our current and for future generations. You can find that book in your Congress bag with other materials. Now, 40 years later, my generation of Serbian cardiac and vascular surgeons has its own chance, task, and privilege. I hope we will be worthy our predecessors and mentors from 1976 and meet the Executive Committee of the European Society for Cardiovascular Surgery expectations that entrusted us with organizing this Congress. Thanks to this Congress, Belgrade will join just few European cities that had an opportunity to organize annual Congress of the European Society for Cardiovascular Surgery twice. I would like to thank to my friends Professor Đinić and Professor Arakelian who helped me to collect these posters from some of previous congresses. Serbia is a small country, as you know, and this Congress was of a great impact and of enormous importance, not only for Serbian cardiovascular surgery, but for medicine overall. I think it will have impact on Serbia and Belgrade as well. Just a few slides about Belgrade, the city host of the Congress. First of all, Belgrade is a very old city, namely the first permanent settlements on territory of modern Belgrade emerged in Neolithic era. It was famous Vinča's culture, probably the oldest civilization in Europe. Belgrade, named at that time Singidun, was founded by Celts more than 2,200 years ago. The Roman custom Singed Unu was the most prosperous in 86 AD when the 4th legion of Flavius arrived. In the following couple of centuries, Singed Unu was the most important military center between two Roman provinces, Maesia Superior and Pannonia Inferior. Domenico, I hope that I said these old Roman names correctly. Even 18 Roman emperors were born in territory of modern Republic of Serbia. The name Belgrade, Beligrad, Beograd or Beograd determined for the first time in the letter of Pope John VIII to Boris of Bulgaria in 878. That is a Slavic name which translated in English means white city or white fortress. In 1284, Serbian king Dragutin, son-in-law and vassal of Hungarian king Ladislaus IV, was given from him rule over Belgrade. Almost 200 years later, during the despot Stefan Lazarevich period, Belgrade was one of the most prosperous cities in the Southeast Europe. Turks, in their writings, named Belgrade Dar al-Jihad, or House of War, namely thanks to its really outstanding geostrategic position on the Danube and Sava confluence. Belgrade was the most interesting for the Ottoman Empire and for Central European forces as well. Nowadays, the situation is almost the same. But thanks to all previous facts, Belgrade is rich with different styles, cultures and influences, as you can see from these slides. Let's back to our Congress. We had already two pre-Congresses activities. The first one was being bi-monthly meeting of surgical section of the Serbian Medical Society. That meeting was dedicated to the 70th anniversary of the second surgical clinic that has its own tradition preserved by the Clinic for Vascular and Endovascular Surgery, by the Clinic for Cardiac Surgery, by Pacemaker Center, as well as by the Center for Endocrine Surgery. Thanks to Professor Alison Halliday, we had an opportunity to organize this annual meeting of asymptomatic carotid surgery trial, two collaborators. Alison, thank you so much again. Presidents of the both program scientific committees will talk much more, and their local representatives will talk much more about scientific program. Unfortunately, two of them are not among us anymore. Allow me to remember once again our deceased friends, Professor Mark Laskar, President of the Cardiac Scientific Program Committee, as well as Professor Giustino Marcucci, member of the Vascular Scientific Program Committee. May we rest in peace, our friends. That's life. Just a few slides about the program. We will have more than 170 invited speakers and lecturers. All of them are experts in different areas in cardiovascular medicine. Traditionally, two of the most important activities during each annual Congress of our society are common plenary session, as well as lavish lecture. This year, our president, Professor Odstekin Otto, has been honored to have a lavish lecture. It was a really excellent presentation. My congratulations once again, Odstekin. Throughout the Congress, we will have 12 symposia about the most important topics in cardiovascular medicine, as well as 22 abstracts and 2 best poster sessions. Allow me to focus on young surgeons who will have the opportunity to attend some of dedicated workshops, then cardiovascular resident forum, as well as cardiovascular cinema. They had already traditional competition for young cardiac and young vascular surgeons awards. Besides that, we will have some very interesting joint events. For instance, one of them is the 3rd joint session with the European Society for Vascular Surgery. Here are some top ESCVS officials. Professor Sebastian de Bust, Secretary General, Professor Tina Conrad, Treasurer, but also previous presidents of that society, Arkadiusz Javien, Jan Brunkwald, Fernandez, Vicente Riambao, Christos Liapis. Here also together with us 2 previous presidents of the European Society for Cardiovascular Surgery, Professor Giovanni De Rio, as well as Professor Csaba Đinić. 2 sessions will have cardiologists, while we had already interesting session under UNESCO patronage dedicated to bioethical issues in cardiovascular medicine. Their own sessions will have anesthesiologists, perfusionists, as well as nurses. You can find all important details, information, and complete scientific program using this mobile application. Our Congress is accredited by the European Accreditation Council for Continuing Medical Education, as well as by the Health Council of the Republic of Serbia. These informations are especially important for our young colleagues. Then, and last but not the least, I would like to thank to all of our sponsors. Without them, we couldn't have been able to organize this Congress. Please, let's give them an applause. But, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that our sponsors made a good decision. That is their investment in the future, since the significant number of our participants are young doctors. Then I would like to thank so much the National Theatre. Thanks to the decision of the management of the National Theatre, we had an opportunity to organize this opening ceremony in this nice atmosphere. Then I would like to thank so much the Serbian Convention Bureau that supported and helped us all time in previous 10 years, as well as to Congress Agency area that has already organized very successfully many international events in Serbia. Belgrade is in the top 50 cities in the world regarding the number of international events held annually. The reference list is really very long, so I believe we will succeed this time as well. Thank you so much for your attention and for your comment.
Now you will hear the welcome address by the ESCVS President, Professor Öztekin Otto. Professor Otto works in Izmir, Turkey. He is a cardiosurgeon and he organized the ESCVS Congresses.
His Excellency, Mr. Minister of Health, distinguished guests, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure as well as honor to be here in Belgrade for the 65th Congress of ESCVS. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank to my dear friend Professor Lazar Davidovic for organizing this high-level, very important Congress in the beautiful part of the world in Belgrade. I would like to introduce you once again our ESCVS Executive Committee here, and we have during my last 2 years of mandate, we tried our best, and I would like to thank all of them for their contribution. We have done 64th ESCVS Congress in Istanbul with their extraordinary collaboration and contribution. During my last 2 years, together with ESCVS board, we succeeded a few things that I would like to share with you. One of them is we started to try to get involved the ladies cardiac surgeons and vascular surgeons more and more. In this regard, last year in Istanbul, we arranged a women cardiac cardiac and vascular surgeons session to discuss their problems, just to attract them to our society. And this year, I would like to announce that proudly that we will have a woman German vascular surgeon in our board. We can only announce after the General Assembly. So please take this message to your countries, announcing that we are expecting more women cardiac surgeons and vascular surgeons to be involved in all levels, in program and executive level in ESCVS. Second improvement, or second action that we could a little bit succeed was the collaboration with other international societies. As my dear friend Lazar Davidovich has already mentioned, we started to have a joint session with UNESCO, starting with Istanbul meeting and ESCVS, and we have done reciprocal session in Porto thanks to ESCVS presidents and executive committee. And also this year we started to arrange sessions in both American Heart Association and European Society of Cardiology as European Society of Cardiovascular and Endovascular Surgery. So if you have time and if you come to American Heart Association meeting or ESC meeting in Rome, please join us to our joint sessions. And this, at our last EC meeting, we decided to arrange a bioethics council for cardiac and vascular surgery in Europe. This has been the first achievement, and we have to thank to Professor Domenico Colombo for this important task. Amongst all European societies, professional societies, we will have the first bioethic council. We would like you to support us to have better ethical decisions for the products in vascular and cardiac surgery, and the research and the clinical studies point of view as well. We are more open to Middle Asia, Far East, Japan and China, and we have done joint sessions in Istanbul, and we will continue to collaboration with those societies in the future as well. As you can see here, we have cardiologists on board, and this will really continue in the future because the main target is our patient, and we are serving the same patients together with cardiologists, vascular surgeons, and cardiac surgeons. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, Minister of Health, dear colleagues, dear ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I'm honored to welcome you in Belgrade. I would like to transfer warm regards and greetings from our Dean, Professor Nebojša Lalić, and all our professors and collaborators. Faculty of Medicine, University of Belgrade, is established in 1940 and started education of first 20 students in 1920. It is the oldest faculty of medicine in Serbia. Nowadays, we have about 8,000 students, 3,500 undergraduate students, and about 3,000 specialists in training, and about 500 postgraduate students on doctoral studies. From its beginning, faculty paid a lot of attention to development of medical practice, scientific work, and international collaboration. So your Congress, the International Congress of European Society of Cardiovascular and Endovascular Surgery, is not only your interest, it is also very important to our faculty and for our commitment for international collaboration. I'm confident that you will have fruitful meeting, and also I'm confident that Professor Davidovic and colleagues will be excellent hosts, and I do hope that forecasted rain for tomorrow will not affect your impressions about Belgrade and that you will enjoy stay here.
Now follows the address of the ESCVS Secretary General, Professor Vladislav Treška. Professor Treška is a vascular surgeon from Plzeň, Czech Republic. He is the head of the surgery and the vice dean of the School of Medicine, otherwise known as an excellent tennis player, as we hear.
So, Your Excellency, Minister of Health, Honorabilis Vice Dean, dear President of ESCVS, Professor Otto, dear Professor Lazar Davidovic, dear members of Executive Committee, dear distinguished guests, dear colleagues, dear friends. It's my great pleasure and privilege to welcome you in the opening ceremony of the 65th Congress of the European Society for Vascular and Endovascular Surgery. I am very pleased that our Congress is organized by our colleagues in Serbia, in the beautiful city of Belgrade, which has very rich and interesting history, including very strong medicine traditions. Serbia is quickly developing modern country, where cardiovascular surgery with other related disciplines plays a very important role. The program of our Congress is rich for many highlights of the recent scientific developments in vascular, endovascular, and cardiac surgery. We are delighted and honored to have here distinguished international faculty and invited speakers. The main philosophy of our Congress is to offer to the participants an updated information from practical and research areas of vascular and cardiovascular surgery, cardiology, anesthesiology, and intensive care of medicine. Also, various interesting workshops are prepared for our young colleagues. I'm personally looking forward to many papers coming from clinical and research areas of vascular, endovascular, and cardiac surgery, and cooperating medical disciplines of many countries from all over the world. Furthermore, our scientific program gives sufficient place for presentation of our young colleagues, and I believe that their presentations will be a very important part of the 65th Congress of ESCVS. Dear friends, dear colleagues, let me thank personally to Professor Davidovic, all local organizers, and also my colleagues from the Executive Committee who were involved in the preparation of the scientific program of the Congress for their enormous job. I believe that your stay here will be fruitful not only from the scientific but also from the social view. Dear friends, dear colleagues, I wish you a very pleasant time to spend here in Belgrade during our Congress of ESCVS. Thank you.
The next speaker is Professor Tulga Ulus, Chairman of the Vascular and Endovascular Scientific Program Committee. Professor Ulus comes from Ankara. He is a cardiovascular surgeon and works in basic research.
Okay, yeah, Your Excellency, Vice Dean, President Professor Otto, President of our Society, President-elect Professor Lazar Davidovic, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure and privilege for me to be in Belgrade, which is full of historical and natural beauties. As a vascular program committee, I'm cordially thankful to all the friends taking place in the executive committee because the vascular and the cardiac program was really include and emphasize all aspects of the surgery. Finally, I wish all of you a fruitful and successful Congress. Thank you so much.
Now you will be addressed by Dr. Miklos Fabri, Chairman of the Local Cardiac Scientific Program Committee. Dr. Fabri is a surgeon who works in Sremska Kamenica and the current president of the Serbian Society for Cardiovascular Surgery.
Honorable Ministry of Health, Honorable President of the Society, Vice President, President-elect, Honorable Dean, distinguished guests, dear colleagues. At front of the Cardiovascular Surgical Association at Serbia, I would like to tell you only a few sentences. The Cardiovascular Surgical Society is the oldest society at that field in Europe. Former Yugoslavia joined that society in the very early days. And that was a great thing at those days, that all people from this Balkan region actually supported that society. For all those years, actually, we kept now here in the small country of Serbia the will to support that organization, and we managed now here to have 73% of all licensed doctors at that field to be a member of this society, and we managed to keep it together, all the cardiac surgical part, the vascular surgical part, the endovascular part, the cardiovascular anesthetist part, the perfusions and the nurses together. And we have received a lot from the society. From this place, I would like to thank you for all of you to support to have a congress here in Belgrade. That's a great honor, pleasure, and extremely useful for us, supporting our tendency also to support the Congress. I would like to thank you again for coming. I would like to wish you a fruitful taking part in the working places at the Congress and a pleasant stay in Belgrade. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Dr. Igor Končar, Chairman of the Local Vascular and Endovascular Scientific Program Committee. Dr. Končar is a rising vascular surgeon who is working with Professor Davidovic and was the first chairman of the ESCVS Junior Committee.
Honorable Prime Minister, Vice Dean, President-elect, President of the ESCVS, teachers of my teachers, friends, family, I would like to welcome you here. And this morning I wake up, and from my home I took a cab and I came to European Congress. This is a privilege that you can have once in your lifetime. I really enjoyed with Professor Davidovic in preparing this Congress, and I'm thankful that he elected me as a chair of the Local Vascular Committee. And on behalf of the Local Vascular Committee, I would like to wish you a successful meeting, and I would like to point out that we tried to do our best to combine tradition with a memory book and new things like mobile application, electronic posters, and this kind of thing. So I hope that everything will be fine. So welcome again. Thank you.
And now follows the presentation from the host of the 66th ESCVS Congress, Professor Anastasios Giannoukas from Thessaloniki, Greece, Chairman of the Local Organizing Committee of the 66th ESCVS Congress. Professor Giannoukas is a vascular surgeon from the University of Larissa in Greece and has so far organized many congresses, including the famous Live Symposium.
Your Excellence, Minister of Health, dear Vice Dean, dear Presidents of the ESCVS, dear members of the Executive Committee of the ESCVS, dear colleagues, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, the decision made by the Executive Committee last year on the venue of the next annual meeting of the European Society for Cardiovascular and Endovascular Surgery to be held in Thessaloniki, Greece, is firstly a great honor and privilege for my country, and I think that we have treated in the same way under the local scientific societies, the Hellenic Society of Vascular and Endovascular Surgery and the Society of Cardiovascular Surgery. While we're waiting for the, yes, okay, here we are. Okay, as you can see, the next annual meeting will take place in Thessaloniki from 11th to 14th of May at the Hotel of Macedonia Palace. Here you can see where Thessaloniki is the capital of Macedonia and is the metropolis, the second city in Greece, and is one modern metropolis with huge history. Is a cosmopolitan area and combines any kind of civilizations that developed in this particular area. And of course, is one of the top 100 conference cities around the world. There are a lot of interesting things to see somebody in Thessaloniki, like the White Tower, the Archaeological Museum, Roman monuments, Museum of Byzantine Culture, and Ladadica, and numerous churches, as well as in close vicinity, the royal tomb of King Philip II, father of Alexander the Great. Thessaloniki is having an international airport with very good connection from all major European destinations, as well as is very easily accessible by car from all the surrounding countries from the Balkan Peninsula. Has numerous accommodation facilities with several hotels for all individual budgets. And as I said, the venue of the meeting is going to be the Hotel Macedonia Palace. And I would like just to share with you for 3 or 4 minutes a little video which shows the venue and the hosting city, the city of Thessaloniki. Can I have the video, please? While we're waiting for this short video, I would like to tell you that the spirit of the local organizing committee is team work, and I would like to thank Professor of Vascular Surgery, Miltiadis Matsangas, and one of the distinguished cardiac surgeons in my country, Sotiris Prapas, who will be my co-chairman of the local organizing committee, for their help so far, and I expect to work as a team in order to present to you at least an equal successful meeting as they were the last 2 in Istanbul and this year in Belgrade. Sorry?
You can play the movie at the end of the
Okay,
presentation.
I have finished actually the presentation and I expect to have the movie. Okay. In the meantime, I would like just to remind or to tell you that Thessaloniki is having a long, despite the long history, is having a tradition in surgery, and in particular in vascular surgery. I would like to mention that the first endovascular repair of an abdominal aortic aneurysm was made in Thessaloniki back in 1993. And this is the way that one of the reasons that we have chosen Thessaloniki for the next the venue for the next annual meeting of the society. Dear colleagues, dear friends, we are looking forward to welcome you next year in Thessaloniki. Hopefully, you will realize that Thessaloniki is the city where various civilizations, history, and the pride of Greece are there, and the heart of Greece is beating there. Thank you very much for your attention.